Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article in the New York Post and also an Associated Press article and a Yahoo News article. It's all over the place. So I am reading from, obviously, like I always do, wonderful, reputable sources. I'm not making anything up. I'm not telling you that our current president, mashed potato brains, is so utterly incompetent that his Secret Service was duped by numerous individuals into thinking that these people were actually Secret Service agents. And it's so bizarre. Two people infiltrated our beloved president's inner sanctum, okay? You're supposed to have Secret Service protect the president and his family and the vice president and her family and extended family within their inner circles. You shouldn't have people infiltrate the Secret Service or law enforcement specifically there to protect the most important politicians in the country. So, I want to read you this. Yahoo News, Secret Service agents assigned to Biden-Harris suspended amid bribery investigation. This is a breaking news story. 4 U.S. Secret Service agents, including members of the President and Vice President's protective details, have been suspended after 2 men charged with impersonating federal officers allegedly bribed the agents with expensive gifts, free apartments, firearms. I mean, you can't make this up. Now, Democrats have had a history with bizarre scandals. So President Obama's administration, during President Obama's administration, they say, oh, Trump, he's so immoral. President Obama's security detail went to, when the president at that time went to a Latin American country. I'm not going to get into specifics. He went to a Latin American country, and his Secret Service detail engaged in certain activities with, let's say, females that they were supposed to pay for those specific activities. They didn't pay the females. Okay? That's President Obama's administration. And then that was a scandal. You can look that up. Okay? But now you have the current administration actually infiltrated by 2 individuals. How they got past the security, the background check. You have to have a background check, for everything nowadays. Especially, I'm a member, for example, of the 1199 Foundation, okay? That plaque up there is the 1199 Foundation. It's an amazing organization that supports California Highway Patrol and their families. And I love the CHP, and I wanted to support, and law enforcement in general, and I wanted to support, so I had a background check there. When you purchase a firearm, I've purchased firearm. I had a background check purchasing a firearm. It's a lot more difficult than morally superior liberal Democrats think. I was an intern at the State Department many, many years ago when guess who was president? Oh, I remember you. No, you don't. But during Bill Clinton's administration, I was an intern. Not the same type of intern in the White House, but I was an intern at the State Department. I had a background check there as a young man. I was, a financial advisor. I had a background check there. You get a background check everywhere, okay? And they find out if you've been arrested. They find out a whole bunch of things about you. Now, if I were to apply to be in our beloved President Biden's security detail, you'd have a background check. They wouldn't even allow it probably. I have voted for President Trump. So even though I was a lifelong Democrat, I voted for President Trump, and I'm going to vote for him in 2024 also. They wouldn't allow that. They wouldn't even allow that, just your voting pattern. much less, so how did they pass the security deal? Two individuals, I'm not going to give you their names. You can look up their names. It's everywhere now. How did they get past security? How were they able to dupe and deceive 4 members of the president and vice president's security detail? They were duped by 2 individuals who are now arrested, almost certainly going to prison. Both U.S. citizens were arrested on Wednesday after the FBI raided a luxury Washington, D.C. apartment building the 2 had been staying. The pair, according to federal officials, claimed they worked for Homeland on a task force to investigate January. Oh my God. How did people... On Friday, federal prosecutor argued the 2 had compromised agents, quote-unquote compromised agents of Secret Service who were assigned to top security missions, and accused them of trying to ingratiate themselves with agents of federal agencies. Now, this didn't happen during the Trump administration. This didn't happen. The invasion in Europe didn't happen under Trump. Gas prices didn't soar under Trump. Inflation didn't skyrocket. We weren't heading into a recession under Trump. We didn't have all these geopolitical and economic nightmares. But you know what? Apparently, wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats will take all of that. Just not to deal with Trump's tweeting, because we know his tweeting is so horrible. And so this didn't happen under Trump. And number one, he knew not really to trust the United States government around him. Initially, he did. At first, the first couple of weeks of his administration, first couple of months. But then he learned very quickly that, who knows, maybe not to trust them, or to be as cautious as possible, or maybe... Who knows why this didn't happen under Trump? You could think about exactly why this didn't take place. Maybe they didn't feel, these agents, that they could get away with it, because you have a scandal with these individuals, or this agency under President Obama. It skips Trump, and then it resurfaces this type of thing under Biden. How you convince Biden's closest security that you're part of Homeland investigating January along with Congress, I don't know. And why they're accepting free apartments, that's really bizarre. And firearms, that's really bizarre. Assistant U.S. Attorney claimed in court this week that the 2 men told witnesses he had ties to foreign intelligence services, obtained 3 visas and 2 from... Okay, so these people allegedly claimed they had ties to numerous foreign intelligence agencies in the Middle East. Says here, in Pakistan and other countries. My God. Until this claim can be further investigated, the given nature of the defendant's conduct, specifically impersonating federal law enforcement in order to ingratiate himself with and infiltrate networks of federal law enforcement officers and other federal employees. His claim must be taken literally and seriously. I mean, this is why we're going to have, ladies and gentlemen, not only like a compromised government. I mean, we know that from servers with top secret intelligence. Now, the FBI is looking into boxes that Trump took with him, but Trump has the power to classify. He had the authority to classify and declassify things. So, as president, he had the authority that Madam Secretary Clinton did not have, for example. So when they're saying, oh my God, he made such a big deal about Clinton's top secret intel. No, Clinton had no right to classify anything. She wasn't part of the classification process. The United States president is. If he says something, for example, it's declassified right then and there within a meeting with another head of state. But see, again, this is lost upon people who are completely apoplectic and want Trump indicted. And that's why when I do these segments, ladies and gentlemen, satirical segments, I don't want to put satire, because that defeats the purpose of satire. If I put, like, on the title, satire, I lost, like, 60 subs, 70 subs. Like, okay, you know what? That's fine. But I'm not going to, like, stop being me, because I'll get those subs back. But, you know, that's how you grow your channel. You have to like, just be yourself. But anyway, when I sometimes say, well, Trump is indicted for this or that, it's satirical, and it's basically I'm pretending to be or acting the morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrat, and but the FBI actually is now looking into Trump and the boxes from the National Archives. The only problem is, Trump is not going to meet with any FBI official. He's going to have his attorneys meet with them, and he hasn't committed any crimes. Nobody's accused him of committing crimes. They say mishandling classified data, but he can classify and declassify data. And presidential archives have been withheld by President Obama's administration, Bill Clinton, Bush, George W. Bush especially also. And so there's a precedent for presidents taking with them certain material and not giving that material to the National Archives. You can say that's right or wrong, but it's happened with other presidents. Okay? Top secret intel on servers that could have been hacked by the entire planet has never taken place, but don't worry. Inspector Clouseau James Comey was on the case, and he said there was no intent. So there you go. To owning a server, there was no intent to own a server to hide your information intentionally. So anyway, this is a bizarre story that I'll likely do more segments on. The FBI searched 5 residences and buildings where the suspects reside, as well as 3 vehicles. They found, oh my God, all of this military gear. I mean, this is like a serious, serious problem. They had pictures of themselves posing as Secret Service agents. How does this administration allow something like this to take place? A third suspended agent was on President Biden's protective detail, and a fourth was signed to secure Harris's home. This is like, if you're a Democrat, and the Democratic Party is like the epicenter of corruption in this country. That's why you see the Bush administration Republican Party was the epicenter of corruption 20 years ago. See, I'm not like an ideologue like the millennial CNNs or, any, I can look and say the Republicans at one point were the epicenter of corruption. The Democrats are now the epicenter of corruption, and I can continue to be an individual, a human being with critical thinking skills. Now, because I was once the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, there are people who say I'm an ideologue because I dared to leave the Democratic Party. Well, no, that makes you actually a very smart, intelligent person who's able to engage in critical thinking skills. I don't have this allegiance. I wasn't born to be loyal to the Democratic Party, okay? I was born to be a human being. So if things make sense to me, if I see that Bernie Sanders is cheated, and I see that there's a great economy and a great foreign policy under Trump, yeah, and I see that they set him up and framed him, okay. So it's interesting, though, like, I can't tell you why this takes place while Democrats are in office. I can tell you, though, that Democrats use private servers. They have these Secret Service scandals. They have all of these, they have Hunter's emails. They have social media algorithms suppressing stories about any corruption within the Democratic Party. They have people like James Clapper saying, well, other people want you to know the corruption within the Democratic Party, so therefore we can't hear that. Because if you hear about corruption within the Democratic Party from anyone other than Democrats, it's a plot of an adversary. Okay, that's the mentality. You have to understand the warped and twisted mentality. But here you have basically a story. And look, I can't stand President Mashed Potato Brains. He's horrible. He's, after Bush, the worst president of all time. But God bless Biden, God bless Harris, and God bless, this country. I don't want anything, God forbid, bad to happen to anybody. Absolutely not. I don't care if I disagree with them politically, vehemently. Now, I'm not like the morally superior, completely immoral and unethical liberal Democrats who put hashtag wrong Trump. These people are you have to understand, there are maniacs, absolute maniacs, who wrap themselves within a cloak of morality and ethics and preach and condemn and give these sermons and pontificate and judge. And these are the morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats who will tell you what's right and what's wrong. And they will actively promote hashtag wrong Trump when the president's brother passes away. God forbid, I don't want any of that stuff to happen. But you know what? Democrats are so incompetent, they're so corrupt, this, God forbid, could have been an absolute catastrophe. It could have been an absolute catastrophe, and it's taking place because they're so incompetent. How do you have law enforcement protective details around you, and your protective detail is so compromised that it allows two people to dupe and deceive them and to give them free apartments and firearms, and this has gone on for apparently some time now. How did these people not know? How did they not know that two individuals suddenly infiltrated them? I don't understand how that's even possible. And God forbid if they got, it is a security nightmare. If you're a Democrat, I mean, you wouldn't be watching this channel, but if you're a lifelong Democrat and you stumble upon this, the incompetence of your administration or our administration, whatever, they're so utterly incompetent, a nightmare could have resulted. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is a huge story, but of course, media will try to probably shove it under the rug or, sweep it under the rug. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Hit subscribe right now.